You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm sorry I didn't mention him off the top, but JJ Starling had maybe the best day of his life, at least in his college career. He finished with 38 points, 14 of 23 from the field. He played 49 minutes. He was terrific. I stopped myself because I think that might have been the best game he played since last year against North Carolina at home. Remember that one? Syracuse pulled off that big upset. Him and Judah Mintz went off that night. I think this might have been Starling's best game since that one. I know he didn't have the same points in that one, but he played terrific, and that game didn't go 2 overtimes. This one did. He had an extra 10 minutes. He was basically Syracuse's offense at the end of regulation and in the first overtime. He was the offense. They were just giving him the ball, and there was nothing that Youngstown State could do. He just kept attacking the basket. He kept attacking the basket. It's really that simple. So I would give him a stock up. I think the first 2 games, he averaged about 13 points. He had 26 combined points, so that's 13 a game over the first 2. It wasn't disappointing, but he wasn't necessarily taking that jump that we were all expecting. In this game, he took that jump. He was, I think, was he the best player on the team? He was definitely the best scorer on the team for Syracuse basketball because he was their offense at the end of regulation and in the first overtime. We'll continue with more stock up players, but let's first go to a stock down. This is a player who I had high hopes for heading into this season. I thought he did an excellent job in the exhibition games. I thought we saw a lot from him. But Jaquan Carlos has not played well. He didn't play well in this game. He hasn't played well in 3 games. Jaquan Carlos is a transfer from Hofstra. He's the starting point guard as of right now for Syracuse basketball. And I like the kid. I think he's got a good personality. Everything that I hear from him is good things. So this is not a personal shot against Jaquan Carlos. But he's not playing well. He's not. He was an all-conference defender over at Hofstra. I think a 2-time all-conference defender there. And the question mark coming into the season with him was, well, can that translate to ACC play, right? It's one thing to be an all-conference defender when you're playing at Hofstra. That's one thing. Cool. But can you do it when you're playing against ACC competition? And what's concerning right now is that Carlos is struggling. He's struggling against Lemoyne, against Colgate, against Youngstown State. That's who he's struggling against. So it's much more concerning than, he looked really good in the first 3 games, and then, hey, they play Texas next Thursday, and now all of a sudden he struggles. You see what I'm saying here? Like, I wasn't expecting this from him. I really wasn't. I thought he was going to be better than this, but he hasn't played well. His shot is also not falling. He was 1 of 6 from the field today. He had 3 assists, so 4 points and 3 assists in 30 minutes from your starting point guard. It's not the greatest. And I think the thing that really ticked me off about Carlos, honestly, he had a chance to win this game. I mean, I'm not going to count the half-court buzzer beater that he took at the end of regulation. That's not what I'm talking about. But with about 7-ish seconds to go, there were 17 seconds to go. In the first overtime, Syracuse is up by 2 points. They're up 86-84. Carlos gets fouled. They're in the double bonus, so there's no pressure of a 1-and-1. They're in the double bonus. You get 2 shots. And he misses both free throws. At that point, and then he fouled out on the next defensive possession. At that point, I just said, I don't know what to, I can't right now. He's not playing well. I think going forward, what Syracuse should do is I think they should start Starling at the 1 and put in Elijah Moore as the starting 2. I think that's the solution. So stock down has got to be Jaquan Carlos. Stock up has got to be JJ Starling. Now, let's continue with the stock ups. Let's go back to that. Eddie Lampkin. Eddie Lampkin had 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists in 41 minutes, and he's doing it with a bad back. He's got a back injury he's nursing right now. He's got his deficiencies. We know what they are. He's not the greatest defender in the world. He's not. But you know what he is? He's a very, very good center. That's the best way to put it. He can do so many things well. He can score a little. He can rebound. And he's the best passing big man maybe in the country. They can run the offense through him. There were many times throughout this game where Eddie Lampkin, as I said earlier, had eyes in the back of his head. He's got very good court awareness. I think that's the best way to put it. He just knows where everyone at least is supposed to be. And he had 7 assists in this one. He was sensational. And another thing that he does, sorry, I'm just adjusting myself here, but another thing that he does is provide a lot of energy and spark. He's physical down low. He's really physical. And so even when this team, look, Syracuse, I mean, we haven't really talked about the start of this game, but in the first half, they lacked a lot of energy. But the one guy who you can count on will provide some energy and toughness is Eddie Lampkin. So yeah, he does have some deficiencies, but he's a very, very capable starting center in the ACC. He has been very, very impressive this season. Donnie Freeman had his best game, 19 points, 12 rebounds. He was a big man. Also hit a three-pointer in this one. If he can get his outside shot to fall, that changes everything. That's really what it's going to come down to. He's got all the physical traits, and I think over time you'll start to see some mental errors that he makes kind of go away because he's still getting his feet wet. But if he's hitting that outside jumper, he's unguardable. Seriously, he's 6'9". He's long. He's good inside the paint. Again, not the greatest defender, but no one really is on this Syracuse team. If he's hitting that outside jumper, you can't guard him. You can't. So very, very impressed from what I saw with Donnie Freeman. I think you can say stock down Chris Bell, but that's one that I have more faith in. He's going to figure it out. He only had 9 points. He was 1 of 8 from 3-point. He hit the side of a backboard on a corner 3, and I don't really remember. I think it happened in the second half of this game. He was not on tonight. He wasn't. Or I shouldn't say tonight. Today. He wasn't on. But that's something that going forward, I think you can expect that it'll correct itself. His first game, he was 2 of 6 from 3. And his second game, he was 1 of 4 from 3. And today, he was 1 for 8. Overall this season, he has made 4 threes on 18 attempts. 4 of 18 is 22%. So Chris Bell has been struggling from 3 to start this season. But that's something that I expect over time is going to correct itself. He shot 42% from 3 last year. So I'm not too worried. So even though stock down right now for Chris Bell, it's because his shot is not falling. I still think he's a more complete player on offense, but when his shot is not falling, it's still not very good, obviously. So I think that does it, I think, for stock up and stock down on some of these players. I think I nailed it for the most part, I think. If you have any more players you want to talk about, stock up and stock down. Coaching, I think it can improve as well, but you know what? Stock up, you got Kyan Anthony last night. All 4 players in 2025 have signed, so nothing about coaching right now. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Stock up and stock down on some of the players from Syracuse this game and over the course of the first 3 games.